Good morning everyone and welcome back again. I'm Mr. Ndali and this is Science Equals Fun. Theme 1 Systems. Concept 4 Communication and Information Transfer. Have you ever asked yourself how different living organisms communicate with each other? Let's have some examples. The first one is humpback whales. Humpback whales communicate with each other by using songs. They produce tunes to make music. Another example is fireflies. Fireflies beetles produce flashlights to warn of predators or to attract a mate. So we have two purposes. Why do fireflies beetles produce flashlight? One, to warn of predators. Two, to attract a mate. And a human. We can communicate through we have a variety of ways through we can communicate. Like what? Like speaking, writing, reading, and etc. So I think we have a little overview of how different living organisms communicate with each other. To keep this clear, this is lesson 1 from concept 4. Fireflies beetles. I've told you that fireflies beetles can communicate with each other through flashlight. But aren't you curious to know more? I'll tell you. Fireflies beetles are a type of insects. So they are a type of insects, not birds, just insects that can produce a chemical reaction inside their bodies. What is the main purpose of this chemical reaction? That allow them to light up and communicate with each other. So, fireflies beetles, the first thing you need to know is that they are insects, not birds. Okay, so they are insects, not birds. They can produce a chemical reaction inside their bodies. You may ask yourself, how do they light up? They light up because they have a chemical reaction inside their bodies, and this chemical reaction allows them to light up and communicate with each other. This image represents fireflies beetles. You may ask yourself, but they are not lighting up. Okay, they are not lighting up all the time. They only light up when they are in need to communicate with others. How do fireflies use their sense to communicate? You may tell yourself by lighting up, okay, how do they use this flashlight or this light to communicate with each other? This what we will learn. Fireflies use their wings to form different flash patterns. You may ask yourself, why do they use different flash patterns? Why don't they just use one pattern? Okay, they need different flash patterns for many purposes. One pattern for warning of other fireflies from predators. Another flash pattern to attract a mate and reproduce. So they have different flash patterns and different purposes. Fireflies flash at regular periods of time, but if there is another group of fireflies flashing nearby, they will change their own flash pattern. Who will change? The first group. Okay, we have two groups, group 1 and group 2. Group 1 was having its own flash pattern, and group 2 was having its own flash pattern. Okay, and then group 1 saw group 2. Then it started to match or to change its own pattern to match the flash pattern of the new group. Why do they do that? Are they jealous or something? No, they are not. They are just doing this to communicate with them. So the first group changes its own flash pattern to match the flash pattern of the new group. Why? To communicate with them only. Okay. Scientists or artists have done something to make sure that this could happen, or to prove that there may be interaction between humans and nature. What have they done? Okay, a group of artists use the flashing LED lights to imitate the nature of fireflies patterns as follows. A large group of fireflies responded by flashing back the same flash pattern at the same time. So instead of having another group, okay, in the first example I've said we have two groups of fireflies, okay, but what did artists do? Instead of the second group of fireflies, no, they brought flashing LED lights. These flashing LED lights, they use them to light up. And then when the group of fireflies saw this flashing LED lights, they just started to change their own flash pattern to match the flash pattern of the flashing LED lights that the artist had made. So, and this was enough to prove that there is interaction between humans and nature. All of us know that fireflies use lights to communicate with each other. Can we, as human, use light to communicate with each other? Of course we can. Humans use lights to communicate with each other, to transfer information, such as using traffic lights. All of us know what we should do when we see red. We should stop. When we see yellow, we have to prepare. When we see green, then we can go. So we can use light to communicate with each other. There are some similarities and differences between types of communication and the transferring information in humans and animals. For humans, we have our ways that we can use as humans to communicate with each other, while animals can't use these ways. Some examples of these ways are reading, writing, watching TV, a cell phone, and an electronic reader device. Some ways that animals can use only to communicate with each other, while we as human we can't use these ways. Like what? Like echolocation. We can find echolocation in bats and dolphins. Okay, ways that both of us can use to communicate with each other. And by saying communicate with each other, I mean humans with human and animal with animal, not human with animal. So this is different. So these ways human can use to communicate with other human, and animal can use this way to communicate with other animal. Okay, like high pitched sound. This is one of the examples that human can use to communicate with other one, and animal can use to communicate with another animal. Another way is displaying light and movements. So these are three ways that both of us can use, humans and animals. Okay, that's all for today. If you have any inquiries, comment below and have a lovely day.